There's a reason you feel like a loser, and it's probably not laziness. It's not because you're weak, and it's definitely not because you were born without what it takes. You may be stuck inside a pattern your brain runs automatically. I call it the loser loop. And once you understand this loop, something changes. Because by the end of this video, I'm going to show you a simple 3-second mental reset that can interrupt the loop before it controls what you do next. But first, you need to understand what's actually happening inside your head. The loser loop starts with comparison. You see someone your age making money, someone getting better grades, someone traveling, someone building a business, someone looking confident while you're sitting in your room wondering what you're doing with your life. You open Instagram, you see 10 people winning. You see none of their failures. Your brain makes one dangerous conclusion: they are ahead. Then comes the second thought: I am behind. Then the third: something must be wrong with me. And that thought becomes an emotion. You feel smaller. You lose energy. You stop taking action. And then your lack of action creates more evidence for the original belief. You've studied for an exam. You walked into the classroom confident. Then the result comes back. You failed. One result becomes an identity. I'm bad at this. Then you study less. You avoid the subject. The next test goes badly. And now your brain says, see, I told you. That's the loop. Event, comparison, judgment, emotion, avoidance. More evidence, then the identity gets stronger. Another example, you watch someone your age succeed on YouTube. Their channel is growing. Their videos are getting thousands of views. You look at your own channel. Nothing. You tell yourself, maybe I'm not talented. So you stop uploading. A month later, nothing has changed. And now you have what feels like proof that you were right. But you weren't right. You were trapped. That difference matters. Because feeling like a loser and being a loser are not the same thing. Your brain can produce a feeling without producing a fact. Think about that. You can feel behind without actually being behind. You can feel worthless without being worthless. You can feel like a failure while your life is still completely unfinished. And this is why the loser loop is so dangerous. It doesn't need to destroy your life in one day. It only needs to influence your next decision. You don't apply because you think you'll fail. You don't start because you think you're already behind. You don't speak because you think people will judge you. You don't try again because the last attempt hurt. And slowly, your fear starts making decisions for you. There is no reliable evidence that exactly 95% of people who feel like losers follow the same psychological loop. But the pattern itself is extremely common. And most people don't even have a name for it. They simply think, this is who I am. That is the trap. Because the moment you confuse a temporary mental state with your identity, you stop trying to change it. But here's what nobody tells you about this loop. The loop doesn't need a massive life transformation to break. It can be interrupted in seconds. And the way you interrupt it is going to sound almost too simple. But first, you need to understand why your brain keeps pulling you back into it. Your brain is constantly looking for patterns. It wants to predict what happens next. If something hurts, your brain remembers it. If something makes you feel good, your brain wants more of it. And comparison makes this system even stronger. You see someone succeed? Your brain notices the reward. Money, status, attention, respect, achievement. Then you compare that reward to your current position. And suddenly, your normal life feels worse than it did 30 seconds ago. Nothing actually changed. Your room is the same. Your abilities are the same. Your opportunities are the same. But your perception changed. That's where the loop gets power. And social media can make this worse. Because you're not comparing your ordinary Tuesday to someone else's ordinary Tuesday. You're comparing your entire life to their best moments, their best photo, their biggest achievement, their biggest paycheck, their best body, their most exciting trip. Your brain doesn't naturally say, interesting. This is a carefully selected highlight. It simply sees the result, and then it asks, why don't I have that? That question creates pressure Pressure creates anxiety. Anxiety makes you avoid difficult action. Avoidance creates stagnation. And stagnation creates more comparison. The loop continues. But here's where things get interesting. Your identity is not as fixed as it feels. Think about a young athlete after a terrible game. They miss the winning shot. The crowd reacts. They walk back to the locker room thinking, "I'm terrible." But the next day, they train. They don't spend 6 hours proving they are not a failure. They return to the process. That's the difference. They separate the event from the identity. A realistic example is a student named Alex. Alex failed an important exam. He went home and spent the entire night watching other students post their results. He started thinking, everyone is moving forward except me. For 3 weeks, he avoided studying. Not because he was incapable, because studying reminded him of the possibility of failing again. Then one morning, he caught himself doing something strange. He was sitting at his desk. His textbook was open. His phone was beside him. And instead of studying, he was searching for videos about successful people. He realized something. He wasn't looking for motivation. He was looking for evidence that his life was going badly. That realization changed his next decision. He closed the phone, opened one chapter, and studied for 10 minutes, not 10 hours, 10 minutes. That sounds insignificant. It wasn't. Because he had interrupted the loop. The goal wasn't to suddenly feel confident. The goal was to stop allowing the feeling to choose his behavior. And that is the principle behind the 3-second reset. It has nothing to do with pretending everything is amazing. You're not going to stand in front of a mirror and scream, "I'm unstoppable." You're not going to lie to yourself. You're going to do something much more powerful. You're going to separate what happened from who you are. Because when your brain says, "I failed, therefore I'm a failure," you need to interrupt the equation. Failure is an event. Loser is an identity. Those are not the same thing. And in a moment, I'm going to give you the exact 3-second method. You can use it after a bad grade, after rejection, after seeing someone succeed, after making a stupid mistake, after wasting an entire day. But don't just listen to it. Use it the next time your brain starts attacking your identity. Because right now, in the next 3 minutes, you're going to learn exactly how to break the loop. Here is the 3-second trick. 3 seconds. 3 steps. And the entire purpose is to stop an event from becoming an identity. Step 1. Name the event, not the identity. The event, say, "This happened." That's it. I failed the exam. This video performed badly. I got rejected. I wasted today. This person is ahead of me. This happened. Not, "I'm a failure." Step 2. Separate yourself from the event. Say, "This is not me. This is something I experienced." Notice the difference. I failed describes an event. I am a failure describes an identity. One can change. The other becomes a prison. Step 3. Ask one question. What is the next move? Not, how do I fix my entire life? Not, how do I become successful? Not, why is everyone ahead of me? Just, what is the next move? Maybe the next move is studying 1 page, sending 1 application, recording 1 video, going for a 10-minute walk, opening the project you abandoned, apologizing, practicing, starting again. The move can be tiny. It just needs to be real. That's the 3-second reset. Event. Identity separation. Next move. Let's make it practical. You get a terrible exam result. Your brain says, "I'm stupid." 3 seconds. This happened. I am not this result. What is my next move? You see someone your age making money? Your brain says, "I'm behind." 3 seconds. This happened. I saw someone succeed. That does not define my position. What is my next move? You upload a video and it gets 20 views. Your brain says, "I'm terrible at YouTube." 3 seconds. This video performed badly. That is feedback, not my identity. What is my next move? That is how you break the loser loop. Not by eliminating every negative thought. You can't. Your brain will compare. Your brain will doubt. Your brain will remember failure. The goal is not to control every thought. The goal is to stop obeying every thought. That is the real shift. Because the moment you stop asking, "What does this say about me?" and start asking, "What do I do next?" your brain loses control of the story. And remember something important. You don't need to feel like a winner before you act like someone who is moving forward. Action can come first. Confidence can come later. You can be scared and still apply. You can feel behind and still study. You can feel embarrassed and still try again. You can feel like a loser and still make the next move. That feeling does not have authority over you. So let's close the loop. At the beginning, I told you there was a reason you might feel like a loser. Now you know it. Comparison creates judgment. Judgment creates an identity. The identity changes your behavior. Your behavior creates evidence, and that evidence strengthens the identity. That is the loser loop. But now you have a way to interrupt it. 3 seconds. This happened. This is not who I am. What's my next move? Use it when you fail. Use it when you compare. Use it when someone rejects you. Use it when you waste a day. Use it when your brain tells you that everyone is ahead. You don't need to win the entire race today. You just need to refuse to let one moment decide who you are. Because your worst day can describe what happened. It cannot decide what happens next. If this video made you see your own thoughts differently, subscribe. Not because you need another motivational video, but because you're building a mind that doesn't automatically believe every negative story it tells you. And remember this, you are not a loser. You are a person who may be stuck in a loop, and a loop can be broken. 3 seconds, one decision, then move.